PANAF ECHO, the African perspective.
African geopolitics.
Unveiling South Africa's struggle, Thabo Mbeki exposes 30 years of hybrid warfare. Locked capital, stunted growth, the economic strangulation. In this final segment, we expose how strategic withholding of investment capital has become a weapon of economic oppression, stifling South Africa's growth and development.
You take these matters about industrialization, manufacturing, and so on. Leadership, comparison to China. Johan Rupert, very senior business person in the country, did an interview a few years back, I think with Power FM. And Johan Rupert said something which I was very, very glad he said it. He's generally a very honest person, speaks his mind. And he said there was a certain period in the country, as he describes it, is during this age one. We should have taken advantage of that situation to invest in the South African economy. We didn't. And the reason we didn't is because we were uncertain about its future. At some point I can tell the story now. We talked to the government of China. Because clothing and textiles here were suffering greatly because of imports from China. As you know, I was saying that you look around, all sorts of items of clothing are made in China. So we talked to the government of China to say, look, this industry of ours is dying because of imports from China. Please do something to stop this flow. I hope the Chinese government won't be angry with me for telling this story. They agreed. They said, all right. So they would intervene to reduce the flow of the Chinese exports to South Africa in order to help South African clothing and Eastern data to survive. And then said something which was very, very interesting to me. They said, part of what we will do, we will help your companies to catch up in terms of technology. Because they've fallen way behind in terms of technology in this sector. So that by the time we normalize the situation, they would have caught up with the rest of the world in terms of technological development. What had happened in Thabo, because of the thing that Johan Rupert is talking about, of a great reluctance by a major part of the capitalist sector to invest in the South African economy. What had happened in the clothing and industry, in the clothing and the textile and clothing sector, was that level of investment that dropped. That includes adoption of modern technologies. It was part of this general phenomenon of what Kosato used to call an investment strike. Because in truth, a great part of capital in this country was very uncertain about the future of the country. This miracle that people talked about was too good to be true. One day there will be a big explosion. Therefore, why invest? As part of the reason for the drop even in manufacturing. So I'm saying to answer those questions about industrialization, technological development, manufacturing, even leadership, you've got to discuss it within that context. Because these questions never arose during age one. There's no questions about leadership, about this and that and the other, because things were working. These matters arise, our questions arise now because things are going the other way. That's a challenge we face as South Africans, to grapple with this reality, which has impacted in all elements of national life. You can go through each one of the state corporations, Eskom, Denel, Transnet. What has happened to all of them? And what has happened to all of them is not accidental. It's particular interventions to make sure that this democracy doesn't work.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more echoes of current affairs.